Greetings everyone, Archimedes here, and welcome back to another Brickfield LEGO video. Today, we're going to be taking a look at my latest my own creation, the Praetorian, a robot guard I made using Technic and Bionicle pieces, my first ever bio robot. And so, without further ado, let's take a look, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Praetorian. Now, I designed this robot to be a kind of guard, to stand in front of the castle of an evil villain, to defend him while he finishes up his evil science, to kill off all the annoying, bothersome heroes who would stand in the evil scientist's way. Now, in my humble opinion, this is really, really awesome. Now, this was my first ever Bio MOC, or bio robot. So, a while ago, probably about 3 months ago, I picked up a collection of Bionicle pieces, all the smooth clip joints and all the random little smooth technicky bits that make Bionicles awesome, since I had, none in my collection. And I began trying to build mechs from that, since that's my favorite thing to build in all of LEGOdom. However, I quickly found that I just was really unsure on how to make all this work, to get the joints to work properly, to hold things right, to get it to look awesome, pretty much. And so I set that aside for a while. I really just did not feel comfortable with the idea. However, after messing around for a little more, I came up with the design of the arms and the legs that you can see here. Now, I liked the way it looked, and I realized that I was beginning to get an idea for how to build this robot. Using this leg design, I built up a basic frame of the torso, and then built these arms, following the same pattern as I did with the legs. Now, I was beginning to really like this design. I thought it had some certain potential. So, I began to take this a little more seriously. I began spending a lot more time working on it, not just building randomly as I was watching TV. And I slowly began to piece together an interesting-looking torso. I used this gear as the main central torso, or as the main central chest piece, and then began fitting in other gears, here, here, and here, to round out the rest of the chest. I then dropped in these tube rollers, which are actually wheels, on the sides to be some sort of energy storage, perhaps, but I thought they fit into the continuity of the model, and also rounded out the center chest section nicely. The feet provided a lot less of a challenge than I originally thought. After a bit of putzing, I managed to get these lever bevel gear pieces in as the front of the toe, and attached in some other pieces in the back to make the foot a little more stable. I rather liked the way it looked. It had a nice rounded shape, wasn't too long or too short, and fitted nicely with the rest of the design of the model. After a little more refinement with the torso, I finally came up to my two final building challenges. That is, its weapon and the head. Now, I decided to do the head first. I was originally going to make this mech as a mech, with a LEGO head stuck in there. However, as I began looking at how the whole design was looking, it just did not fit right. The head was way too small, and it looked kind of cheesy and a little lame looking with the rest of the style of the mecha. So I began fabricating a fairly simple looking head. Now, as you notice from the color scheme of this robot, the upper arm and upper leg pieces of the robot are very gray, mostly light gray dominant, whereas the lower arms and lower legs are black dominant. So, I decided to make the head black as well, with only a little bit of light gray accent, to kind of fit in with that pattern. I made a very, very simple head design, using these nice curved half-beam lift arms, and although it's very simple, I kind of like the way it looks. It's nicely mechanical and rounded slightly, and fits with the look of the robot. At this point, I was leaping for joy, because I thought the model would be pretty much done. However, that's when I came upon what I think was really the biggest building challenge in this model, to my great surprise. These very simple little brick-built LEGO hands. As you can see, the end model is just 2 clip bricks, 4 bad robot arms, and a jumper plate in back to attach it to a beam. However, it took me over 2 hours to design that very, very simple hand there. And I think it just goes to show you that sometimes some of the most simple things in a model can have the most complex and difficult designs. And I think that kind of makes sense. After all, simplicity, I think, is sometimes harder to pull off. It's a lot easier to make something super complicated and super bulky that has all the features you want, but really doesn't look as good in the model, as opposed to something that's much more slim and fitting to the design. If you look on the back of the mech, you can see that I built this little back scabbard, so he could sling his sword across it when he wasn't in use. I've thought this kind of looked awesome, since I really am quite fond of back scabbards. And I also thought that, if this robot guard was standing in front of the door, our heroes might originally think he was just a statue, before reaching back and pulling out the sword. Well, I digress. That's just my imagination taking me away. But nonetheless, I think it looks pretty awesome. The sword itself was fairly simple. As soon as I got this bio collection, I noted these two sword wing pieces, and I just knew I had to use them in a model. Using some fairly simple techniques and these binocular eye members, I was able to fit them nicely into this very simple sword shape, kind of like a Roman gladius. It looked very strong and powerful, and I think it really fit this robot's character. In the end, I was able to create this massively muscular and rather ominous-looking mech with exposed gears and a giant broadsword to hack through enemies. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Praetorian. I would really ask you to be kind in your reviews of this model. I mean, yes, I would like you to tell me exactly what you think, and if you think that it sucks, well, please tell me. However, this was my first bio robot, and however much that I really enjoy the building of it and the look of it, I know that I'm, well, practically really just a newbie in this, and I'm not very, very capable when it comes to biomeching, and so, thus, I'm really open to your suggestions and advice for how I should build better in the future, especially in this style. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I just said, but I will say once again, I really hope you liked this model. If you did, please comment, rate, or subscribe. Tell me what you liked about it, and what I should continue using, what techniques I should continue using in my models. If you didn't like this model, still, please comment and rate, and if you really want, still, please subscribe too. The point is, I want to hear from your expertise, what would make my model different and better. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you all farewell. My name is Arcimedes36, and I'll see you next time.